What's the worst case scenario? What is the cost of not changing now?
Can you tell me about your startup ShakeDeal? In a very few lines that even layman should be understand.
It's great when you raise capital and all that, but the real journey starts after you take it.
Once they raise fund, there's a LinkedIn post saying we have raised X, Y, Z, and thing. What really happens after fundraise?
It takes time in B2B for your enterprise customers to start looking at your service or platform.
Okay. Do you think AI can disrupt this thing? Everybody firmly believes that humans are good at building relationship with another human, where AI cannot replace these things. Do you think in the future it can take over this particular thing?
Modi ji had come out with the Startup India program, and there was a lot of noise about how startups are going to contribute so much for our economy. And while I was working in the US, one of the things that came across
for our audience, which is startup founders who are looking to, is there any framework to find like this is the perfect way to find the ultimate product idea to the users, end users?
Right?
Rahul Dravid's, I'm a big fan of that.
Absolutely.
Which one do you like?
I think that was the Indranagar boy.
Indranagar ka gunda hu main. If you are a business leader, startup founder, or somebody who is interested in building a business on B2B, this episode is for you. Our guest is Akshay Hegde, who is the founder and MD of ShakeDeal. We talked about the real journey of building a B2B business, how to market it, how to get large enterprises as your customer, common mistake that founder makes, how AI is changing the game, and the one skill that AI cannot replace. Watch the episode till the end and comment your thoughts. Welcome to Global Leaders Club podcast with Akshay Hegde from ShakeDeal. First of all, thanks Akshay. Thanks for coming up to our Global Leaders Club podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So let's start the podcast in a very unscripted way. I would like to understand about you, and later we can travel to your backstories of starting your venture, things like that. Please explain more about what's your journey before starting this startup.
Akshay Hegde, the co-founder and MD of ShakeDeal. We're a B2B enterprise procurement platform and supply chain execution platform. We started this around 10 years ago. Before this, I was in the US. I did my bachelor's in the US in industrial engineering from Purdue. And post which I was like a supply chain consultant. How I got into this was essentially because while I was working in the US, one of the things that came across was that I was working with people across the apparel industry, large enterprises. We were doing all these supply chain consulting projects like the network optimization, concept design, etc., for the warehouses and so on. So it was along these periods when we were visiting one of these warehouses of a pump manufacturer. Okay, it was Franklin Electric, big pump manufacturer. They have a few brands in India as well. I think Luby or something is probably owned by them. They had two massive aisles of racking that was slotted extremely, nicely for just e-commerce operations for Granger.
Okay.
And Granger was a big MRO player. It got me thinking as, we don't, and back home, my family is from this industrial tools business.
So here in Bangalore, India.
Yeah, in India, our family business was in...
So you completed your graduation here and went for higher studies for...
I actually did my bachelor's in the US.
Oh, okay.
So I did my 12th over here in Bangalore, and then I did my bachelor's over there.
Okay.
Post-bachelor's, I directly went into the workforce.
Okay, which is supply chain.
Yeah, which is in the supply chain and, industrial engineering space. Consulting, basically management consulting. But supply chain focused. So having seen that in the US, they had already moved this MRO related products and, categories into, say, just an online only domain. Or it was also catching up because...
It was 2012-ish?
This was 2014. 2014.
Okay. So you observed that these guys were doing online supply chain.
every company, right? Whether it's a pump manufacturer or a tool manufacturer, or you're into like electricals manufacturer, cables and all of that, you have basically different channels, right? You have got your general trade, you've got your modern trade, but in for most of these B2B kind of products, which you don't really have an end consumer that might need it. They're largely trade driven, and
Selling to other business, basically.
selling to other businesses or going through a distribution channel, like through distributors and so on. But if you're able to have an e-channel or an online channel for it, which I saw over there, you're basically disintermediating. So you're getting them
You're cutting a lot of
you're cutting
players.
a lot of players. That had not caught up in India at the out point, around that period of time, 2015, 2014.
So you spotted this particular
That was
place.
probably one opportunity that I felt. And when I came back, that's how we decided to get into this.
So you completed your 12th grade in Bangalore, India, moved to US,
Yeah.
and did your engineering. Later went to supply chain as a management consultant. You worked in supply chain industry.
Yes.
You spotted the problem. You came back to India, started.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, I actually even kind of cross-referenced it with the pain points that my family business and similar SMBs in India were facing. So that enabled me to get more of a grasp on this thing. After coming back, I was almost a year. I was working with the family business.
Okay.
And essentially, I was trying to collate the problem statements that we're facing over here and how, it was probably taken care of over there.
So basically, you did linked thinking.
Yeah.
You spotted a problem. You had your family business were doing in the same segment, as well as you had prior experience in the same industry. You collated everything and tried to solve the blank space of that particular problem.
It's like first principles thinking, trying to, utilize an analogy that you've seen somewhere and then try to bring it out. That's the best way to
Unstructured
to actually have it out in the open and see whether it works, So giving any thought, bringing it to fruition. I think that kind of structure has worked in the past for even different things that we've done with ShakeDeal.
Okay.
It's always led with some sort of input, and that input has been some analogy case study that we've come across, and then move that towards creation of, say, a solution for that problem statement.
Interesting. I wanted to ask an interesting question. You started startup when the word startup itself was not sexy. So, how was the journey? How did, in 2014, the ecosystem were completely different when you compare to 2026. Now we have a lot of incubation, a lot of funds, a lot of, lot of supports are there. You have VCs, angel investors, you have a lot more things. In 2014, probably you had 1% chance, 1% support from the ecosystem. What was the journey in 2014?
So, 2014 is when I just passed out. So, when I got back was 2015.
Okay.
By 2015, I think there was Modi ji had come out with the Startup India program.
Okay.
And there was a lot of noise about how startups are going to contribute so much for our economy. And
स्टार्टअप्स के लिए वित्तीय संसाधनों को बढ़ाने के लिए हम सरकार द्वारा मान्यता प्राप्त फंड्स के निवेश किए जाने वाले
at that point, there was a lot of SOPs given to the startups. For example, the Startup India portal, where you get registered as a startup, it gave you a lot of things drawback on
GST.
Not just GST,
Yeah.
it's your income tax. You had a certain number of years where you didn't have to, I think up to 7 years or something. 3 out of the 7 years, you can have profits that are untaxed.
But the startup in the first 3 years
But
will not.
yeah, that was another thing. Startups are seldom profitable and at the beginning. But then for your IP related expenses for trademarks, patents, they were kind of reimbursed. And then simultaneously, I think 2016 they started the GEM platform, Government E-Marketplace, which is the B2G.
GEM.
Yeah.
What do you mean by GEM? I'm not aware of that.
So it's the Government E-Marketplace platform. It's like a massive B2B public procurement portal. And there itself, startups were given a lot of, preference. MSMEs and startups were given preferences for public procurement. So I think during that period, this is how the government was helping. On the private side of things, venture capital, there was still Flipkart and your SnapDeals of the world were there. They were the ones that were like getting the lion's share of funding. But I think what I felt was for spaces like where we were a B2B aggregator in the MRO domain and a supply chain company. The problem statement was not as clearly defined. And people were trying to still explore whether this had a real, opportunity out in an Indian market. But very quickly in 2 to 3 years, by around 2017, 2018, it changed. There was a good need for this kind of business. That's when you saw guys like Adani and all that.
So there's a real takeaway for startup founders. When you start initially, you might not have the fully customer ready solution. So it will take you a lot of pivots after maybe in Akshay's case, it was 3 years for ShakeDeal to get the product market fit stage.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think initially we didn't have.
I wanted to ask you, for our audience, for the first 3 years, you didn't have the proper product market fit. What was your strategy to find that particular product market fit? And until that, what were your strategies to say whether this particular segment works or this? You have finally founded the B2B supply chain solution, right? You have built a technology platform to cater that particular ICPs. So how did you find that particular problem statement from the product market fit point of view?
So
this is for our audience, which is startup founders who are looking to start their own startup. How should they? Is there any framework to find this is the perfect way to find the ultimate product idea to the end users?
Yeah. So I'll be candid with what we did, right? See, initially it was first 2-3 years. We had revenues, we had customers. They were using our products, our platform. We didn't really feel like there was a proper ecosystem lock-in. We took around 2 to 3 years. Why?
It was bootstrapped until 3 years?
Yeah, it was around bootstrapped, post which we partnered with our investors. But in order to get there, what we saw was that firstly, it takes time in B2B for your enterprise customers to start looking at your service or platform as inevitable. That means that they need it, replace. It's really driving a lot of value for them, and your solution doesn't come out panned out perfectly the first time around.
Yeah.
You need to use your initial customers as partners who can help structure your product out and create the actual value that similar customers will actually be able to reap benefits from later on. And so basically you need to use them as very initial subject matter experts who reinforce your product and give you the learnings that's required in order to make your product more market ready. And that's when you'll be able to be driving the kind of value that you want for your ICP, right? So the first initial 2-3 years, it took us to get that. So we were really piloting our products with our platform with various customers, having them use it, seeing where the depths are. Because as a marketplace platform, when we started off, it was a chicken and egg problem as well, because it was enterprise SaaS, plus we had a layer of marketplace below that for all the categories that we were supplying, be it tools, safety equipment, tackles, bearings, etc. We had to create that supply base first.
Okay.
If we approach a customer before having all those SKUs lined up in the platform, the customer would probably drop off. It's so creating that supply base was initially very important for us, and it's only when we had hit that critical, mass of SKU master catalog, and we had gotten the vendor base that could actually cater to such depth of catalog, was when I started resonating more with the customers, because then they started really getting that one-stop
Solution.
solution.
So the quick hack is try to talk with your initial few customers, partner with them, be vulnerable with them, saying exactly tell me your problem.
Yes.
We can solve and iterate the product according to your need.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think they can be your initial
product builders.
initial partners, product builders, your initial evangelists. It's all them.
Interesting. So can you tell me about your startup ShakeDeal in a very few lines that even layman should be understanding?
ShakeDeal is it's a B2B enterprise procurement platform and a supply chain execution platform. We help large enterprises in their indirect procurement, which is basically any large enterprise that requires a long tail of products that they purchase for maintenance, repair, or overhaul. They have a huge SKU master catalog. That means they are buying things, all like 12,000 items probably, right?
It's a tedious process of up and running.
It's a very tedious process, right? From when the request for a user in the plant wants a particular item, all the way to it coming in. That entire journey is like, you think that it would be as easy as ordering from your
marketplace or something,
for Amazon or something like that. But in enterprise, it's not as easy. They have complex workflows. They have complex checks, and they need to be compliant the way they get it. At the same time, they need a great service level, and they need the product at a good price, right? And at the right time. So that was the problem statement that we were kind of aiming to fix with these enterprise customers. So they use us for managing the fragmented vendor base, where we consolidate all of them. Wherever there's a long tail of spend, we're able to aggregate that and give them savings because we're able to get economies of scale that way. And essentially, we provide them the transparency that they need. Large enterprises usually have a lot more focus on compliance and reliability, right? So what we are able to provide them are almost 100% reliance on service levels and compliance, along with serviceability.
It's a platform where you can handle things digitally for your B2B procurement.
Correct.
In simple terms.
Yeah. So I would go further to say, like, procurement is not just like an add to cart thing, right?
Yeah. Typically, you are buying for 1,000 employees.
Yeah, you're buying for 1,000 employees and, multiple locations, corporate headquarters, plant, warehouses, different kind of locations and places, right? Where the user could be from the mechanical MEP department, or it could be like, from corporates in the HR department. It could be from anywhere. When you're buying from for such large scale or for a large number of users, so it's not as simple as just adding to cart and checking out, right? That's not what corporate enterprise procurement is. Enterprise procurement is like, it's actually a workflow between your finance, your compliance, vendor, and ops. It's this workflow, and that's where ShakeDeal actually stands at. It's at the intersection of all these workflows where we try and ensure that everything is compliant. At the same time, we are not trying to restrict their speed or velocity. We're trying to give wings to it.
Okay. It's a value add-on to their procurement process.
Yes, it's a value add. It actually enables their end-to-end procurement workflows happen autonomously, while keeping all of these core functions, the vendors, the ops team, their delegation of authority, whatever approval workflows they need, and the user who's actually having the requirement, the purchase requisition.
Okay.
All of them are able to have visibility of the entire end-to-end process, right from PR to PO and payment and delivery, all through the platform.
Okay. So it might be as simple as that. On B2C, me buying a specs or a camera for my uncle via Flipkart on B2B segment. On B2B, I run a company called Hilos, where I am buying like 10 cameras for my digital marketing team. In this way, I can use ShakeDeal
Yeah, absolutely.
on B2B.
Yes.
Okay.
That's predominantly what it is. It's an enterprise procurement platform. And you can use ShakeDeal to buy your business supplies or industrial supply related products.
Okay. So you started this in 2015, 3 years to find a product market fit. And explain me, like, after 2017, what was the journey be like?
Well, 2017, 2018.
And specifically, you are building in the B2B space, right?
Yeah.
What's the ups and downs? Is there any customer that made you like, wow, any compliment or any negative review, or like, what was the journey be like? Like, give me a comprehensive journey timeline in 2018, 2019, something like that made you quite think a lot about your positioning, or it might be some marketing lines which worked for you, or some customer review that helped you to get some enterprise deals or something like that. Or maybe you can talk about your first enterprise deal, how long it took, and what was the key strategy used. Maybe for some founder, it might be useful.
Okay, sure. So I'll try and like go back to 2017, 2018 timeline. Pretty much by when we had kind of found our product market fit, that critical mass, and had also like just taken an external investor onto our cap table, which helped us to scale further from there.
Okay, I wanted to stop here. So you are a founder, you are running this company for 3 years in 2017. Did you derive at a point thinking whether I should go for a founder, VCs, whether should I get the external fund or should I bootstrap?
I think it's always better to like have product market fit and have a critical mass before you look for venture capital. That way you're sure about where you're putting your funds when you're taking in funds. People think that it's great when you raise capital and all that, but the real journey starts after you take in capital.
I wanted to bust the myth. So people are like, once they raise fund, there's a LinkedIn post saying we have raised X, Y, Z, and things. What really happens after fundraise?
Well, it's an
Let's
obligation.
say you raise like 100 rupees. Where's the amount is like where you are exactly spending, and how things works after funding? Like, what's the way you run the business before funding and after funding? What's the way like difference between running a business with bootstrap and as well as with funds?
Well, first things first, I think when you have funds, you kind of tend to you would assume that you don't have to like be stingy about expenses. You don't look at it. You might think that we have so much available to us, so we can like easily make a spreadsheet and decide where you want to like spend your money and how much it's going to like take budgetary, right? Whatever you make on budgetary levels usually is not enough. It's always underestimated. Okay. Especially when you have funds, because budgets always keep increasing. Your teams ask for more, and then you're never able to like stick to a budget when you have those. So question of like real problem is you can never have enough money.
So although you are funded,
you can never have enough money. So obviously that's not the solution to anything, right? But why to go out and when to go out is firstly going out, getting funds from some investor. I think it's an obligation. You have to deliver. All right. So it's a lot of onus on the founders to give a return, do well. Obviously, it's risk capital. Everyone knows it's risk capital. It's because it's angel investment or private equity or venture capital. It's still gotten some sort of obligation along with it. I think it's best to go unless it's a thoroughly new age deep tech or
investment heavy.
investment heavy related, where you need heavy R&D, or that only a venture capital or somebody with a high risk appetite can make these massive bets. If it's mostly a service related business or a business that can be done without external capital, one should be able to do that, unless, only once you get a product market fit, or you have a certain level of
Scalability.
ecosystem lock-in, I would say.
When you say ecosystem lock-in,
that means you're actually delivering value. You're not just making revenues. You're irreplaceable for someone.
okay, now like Indian D2C customers wants Amazon, Flipkart, it's an ecosystem lock-in.
So if you look at the D2C space, they cannot do without Amazon and Flipkart. And now guys like Blinkit as well. Because they have to be on those if they're into D2C.
Now if I come with an B2C product idea, let's say I come with an scent, a perfume. I need to list that in the Blinkit.
You create, your product becomes inevitable.
It's a distribution channel for me.
It's a channel that is, you have to be, like anybody working in that business would have to use you.
Okay.
So that becomes a really great.
So if an end customer wants to buy something, if I have a product, in between this distribution channel is coming, they are inevitable.
Yeah. Inevitable once you have the critical mass there.
Okay.
Once you have critical mass there. So I think that's the right place to even approach people for funds, because that's when, you're able to show them proof of concept and so on.
How do you find, let's say I want to build a B2C brand. How do you find a ecosystem lock-in solution? Proactively think on that and build. For example, Cred. Cred is an ecosystem lock-in AI application, right? Is it? I'm asking you the question.
You can plan to get to a stage where, you have various stakeholders, and for us, like a marketplace and enterprise SaaS platform, our stakeholders are our vendors, our customers, the users and the customers. Our ICP is actually the procurement professionals, or the CPOs, commercial department in a company, but they have users in the plant and so on, and they've got the finance team, and then they've gotten people in stores who manage the incoming of all the orders and stocking, and then we have our vendors who are able to. So this is the ecosystem. If all of them have hit a stage where the experience level that they're getting with usage of your product is immense, it's a 10x. The delta is very high.
Like Delta 4, like whatever the Kunal Shah explains. If you have Delta 4 version of your product, you are the by default like the lock-in of that particular ecosystem.
Exactly. So that gives you the confidence to go ahead and scale. It gives you the confidence to also say go and ask for money, because hey, I have
the credibility, I have the data to showcase.
I have cracked it. I have the credibility. I have enough use case that's been proven and showcased.
Interesting. Now, in 2018 to 19, you were raised the fund and everything. Now, the next step, as you got the funding, you'll be expanding the team and everything. From the marketing point of view, what was your initiative and how it you have it's been 10 years of running ShakeDeal. What's the percentage of the growth you have got from the actual marketing? What's the some new initiative or some new marketing strategy which has worked for you?
Right. So I think
because you are marketing to the enterprise customers, the way they deal and understand about your product via marketing is different, right? So how you are approaching marketing, targeting these enterprise customers?
I'll tell you what our GTM was extremely. We've evolved in our GTM strategy. Initially, as a marketplace, we used to use a lot of spend on search engine marketing in order to drive traffic to our marketplace. But then we realized early on that the customer acquisition cost was not working out, because what you were acquiring from search engine marketing used to be a DIY enthusiast who wanted a drill or someone like that, not your enterprise customer.
They were not passing the budget authority time need.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that their
authority was not when you go for
exactly.
DI.
Yeah. So they was exactly
they were not the qualified prospects.
Absolutely, they were not really my ICP, though I was acquiring them.
So you invested on SEO, you got the customers, but they were not like qualified customers.
Yes, that was very early on, right? Back in, I would say this is even 2015 to 2016 to 2018, right? And so it was not making sense to us. The CAC wasn't working out. The LTV was not working out. CAC is customer acquisition cost. LTV is lifetime value of the customer. So what we decided then is to move our strategy to acquiring real enterprise customers. Though we used to get some good leads from there, okay? When we did search engine marketing and all of that from this. Like you used to get one big customer from there, like from Tata Group or L&T. They used to buy some products, and we used to get a good lead from there, from the procurement teams. But that didn't lead to the kind of in that you wanted with any of these customers, right? So then we did a few seminars and conferences that were domain specific to our ICPs.
I was seeing your YouTube video about you attending the conference and explaining things.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's where we went and we presented our offerings. It also involves, most companies in the B2B space, the way they do it is they tie up with these conference producers. They usually end up sponsoring it as well with a portion. But then they get access to the kind of ICP that they need. And they're able to showcase their products over there.
Moreover, you're meeting the ICP in person.
Yes, and relevant stakeholders, right? Probably the decision makers that actually matter for you. So that GTM strategy actually helped us a lot. It helped us get our initial set of enterprise customers. And those enterprise customers ke saath bhi, we didn't immediately go and do carpet bomb all these kind of events.
Bambording.
Yeah, events all over India. We did them very strategically in places where we had developed our capabilities. Like initially, we were very strong in the South. Then we built up in Delhi. So we targeted Delhi-related events. Then we started targeting West-related events. So that's how we went about, catering to our ICPs, because that's the best way. When COVID hit, everything moved online. So
and I wanted to reflect in past year. So after building like a ShakeDeal for over 6 years or maybe 5 years, you started the next venture. Maybe can I call it as a venture, or should I'm talking about the ShakePay.
It's like a vertical.
Okay.
It's a vertical within ShakeDeal. Yeah.
So after COVID, you started your new vertical, which is ShakePay. Tell me more about ShakePay.
So just to explain to you what exactly ShakePay does, ShakePay is a rewards and loyalty platform. And the way we came about doing ShakePay is it was a natural progression to us. In the procurement space, we were dealing with procurement guys, and they used to buy XYZ categories from us, right? Portion of that also involved corporate gifting. So anything that they used to gift to their distributors, dealers, customers, etc.
Let's say you're speaking with your ICP, the procurement buyer.
Yeah.
Tell them what's the unique about ShakePay. Tell me few lines about to your ICP maybe.
Right. So ShakePay enables companies to completely digitize their channel incentives, loyalty programs, and reward programs for either their dealers, vendors, employees. So it's corporate R&R on steroids. And we give you platforms, engines to be able to run campaigns across various formats, across various denominations, across various brands. And at the same time, you're able to get end-to-end transparency, visibility, a nature of direct benefit transfer, which basically enables there's no leakage in this entire process of rewarding your loyal customers. And that invariably increases the lifetime value for customer and also enables you to get more revenue for the marketing budget that you have. So in a way, we're trying to plug the leakage in the incentive space, which is required for companies to be able to maximize and optimize their marketing spend ROI. All of this comes under trade marketing spend and so on.
Interesting. So
So just I wanted to like come in and structure this response a little better. So ShakePay was born out of this need or natural progression that we had, where our enterprise procurement folks used to buy corporate gifting items from us as well. And when COVID hit, everything moved digital. And when it moved digital, essentially all rewards happened to be through branded vouchers, gift cards, and so on. And that's how we developed ShakePay. And since then, it's become a full-fledged rewards and loyalty engine.
Okay, interesting. Now you entered the fintech game.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
Enterprise fintech, yeah.
2022 and 2022 was like the funding was mostly on the fintech. After now, AI being replaced for the funding, how was like how different it was like entering fintech, and how did you market like to stand out amongst the like competitors? So how actually fintech marketing works? What worked for you?
Ours is slightly different because it's not a B2C fintech the way most fintechs operate. Or most fintechs that people have heard of are usually the B2C fintechs. The enterprise fintechs are not actually as well known, because we kind of like lurk in the background, do the heavy lifting and the large value stuff without actually coming or doing the heavy marketing. Because a lot of these enterprise deals are slow. They're very long to fructify. Long sales cycles. It's boring as well because it's all process related, right? So what we are trying to do is enable a very compliant in ShakePay. We're trying to enable compliant incentive distribution to stakeholders, channel partners, etc. What we are trying...
How differently you marketed this particular thing?
So the way we did it is, firstly, we started off by educating our customers as to why you need this. Most people have some sort of leakage happening in their ecosystem. Okay? That means it's like this. Delhi se 100 rupees nikalta hai, wahan pe 1 rupee pahunchta hai. That's the entire leakage came, right? Imagine a big company that's running FMCG or brand, and they have distributors, dealers, and retailers, right? Eventually, what reaches the retailer for his loyalty and all of that, from what is the budget from the FMCG brand, it's a fraction of it, as they say. So our solution comes wherein we're able to bring in this transparency, ensure that there's no leakage in what the brand is kind of this thing, so that your return on investment from all of these marketing budgets helps you in your increasing your revenue. Ultimately, all these dollars go to, increasing your revenue. So that's the analogy I wanted to give. And that's how we educated the customer.
So you educated in your social media.
Educated
and
through social
offline media, which is working for ShakeDeal.
Yes.
You inculcated that thing here.
Same thing we inculcated there with the prompt statement that we wanted to solve for.
Okay. So now going back to the GTMs which is working. First is search engine optimization, which you where you didn't get the qualified customers. Next is offline events, conference events.
Yeah.
What's the other avenues which you got good returns for the B2B marketing? Because Kunal Shah, he says, why don't B2B products market like B2C products? Because B2C people are crazily advertising their B2C product, whereas you see B2B products, they are not marketing as effectively as like that. What do you think about this statement by Kunal Shah?
I think he obviously has a lot of experience in building and scaling businesses, and his businesses have been mostly in the B2C space, and he's managed to do it amazingly with how popular the credit campaigns have been, right?
Rahul Dravid's. I'm a big fan of that.
Absolutely. So,
which one do you like?
I think that was the Indranagar boy.
Indranagar ka gunda hu.
Yeah, exactly. That was my favorite.
Okay.
But what I feel is in the B2B space, you're not chasing dopamine or delight. In B2B, your main problem statement, you need to optimize for what helps them save their reputation. What ensures that if your product doesn't, if they adopt your product, what is failure looking like? if
Okay,
things
if
fail.
they adopt your product,
Yeah.
what's the worst case of
What's the
product?
worst case that's happening over there?
Okay.
You're building for accountability, so you need to like market that way. What's the worst case scenario? What is the cost of not changing now? All right, those are the question marks that a B2B customer would probably have in their mind before you are able to convince them, right? So it's all about fear,
Fear, reputation management.
risk management in the B2B space. While B2C is more of about,
So
dopamine
when you are
hit.
running an ads targeting an enterprise customer, you are talking about if you do not use ShakeDeal procurement platform,
Yeah.
you might lose this.
Yeah, you might lose on the small and compounding wins that you get by switching to such efficient procurement, right? And the way we enable it is because we are bringing all the stakeholders on one ecosystem, all right? That means everyone's incentives are aligned.
Okay.
And that was missing. So the cost of not doing that is much higher eventually. So you show it to them.
So you press on the problem statement. If you do not use this B2B product, you will miss this eventually.
I always like selling through anecdotes. And these anecdotes are essentially some kind of mission critical stories that you've done for someone in the past. Someone
Tell me one or two stories on the ShakeDeal's marketing.
So I'll tell you, one of the stories that we use a lot is how we, during COVID, helped a lot of business. I gave you an example.
Yeah.
I think we were talking earlier. I'm not sure if we spoke
we
about
were.
it. Guys, like during COVID period, our e-commerce companies like Flipkart, Amazon were probably the only ones that could operate. And in order to, because you had something, you needed to get a form which allowed you to operate. Otherwise, it was complete lockdown.
You should have certain badge to.
Absolutely, you needed a permit, a different permit, right?
Permit.
So we got that by virtue of being a B2B commerce kind of player. But what we did during those periods, what we critically managed was large scale, delivery of sanitizers, 5 liters, and
Essentials,
drums, sanitizer drums to all these corporate customers who needed it for taking care of operations. For example, Flipkart and Amazon, they're all warehouses across India. They were managing, right, operations. So we're the ones who supplied those items, the thermometers, the contactless thermometers that they needed in order to ensure that, no person with high temperature entered their warehouses and so on. Oxygen concentrators for a lot of our corporate clients were lifted from, imported from China overnight in order to bring them whenever there was.
So you used this particular case study as an advertisement model?
We delivered.
Okay.
And one of the thing
You're talking about what you guys did while the whole world is saying, no, we cannot do that.
Yeah.
You're doing it.
Absolutely. And actually, one of the things that you wanted to show, most people, if you're able to give them stories of mission critical, there's nothing that our ICP loves to hear more than stories of vendor failures or mission critical stories that you managed to deliver on and service, or times when you were able to relate to them with something that they could have probably faced in their everyday,
Interesting.
work.
You are communicating the mission critical statement in the ads or in the social channels.
Through channels, through our posts, through our meetings, it's in the ethos. When we speak to our customers, that's how we.
You effectively communicate those problems you can avoid using our platform.
Absolutely, yeah.
Interesting.
That's the way we go about communicating our.
Interesting. And what are the other ways? We done with SEO, search engine optimization, live events, and you are using the mission critical statement in the ad campaigns, in-person meeting, everything. What's the other channels which worked for you for building this company?
Word of mouth has been a huge thing, and you can't underestimate what word of mouth has been. I'll give you numerous examples where we've started working with customer A, okay? Or we were working with somebody with, say, let me start naming customers. I mean, it's fine. It's just a podcast. I'm not doing anything wrong. Say I was working with a customer from Siemens, but that user left. He went to another company called Syngene or somebody else. He had a great experience over here. He went there. He started using us again. or they were already using us. We started getting a new set of inquiries, a new set of, our scope of work increased over there because he had a great experience. I think here you cannot say what was the customer acquisition cost, because
Because you have spent time to build relationship
it is
with
so
them.
latent. Yes, it is so latent, and it compounds after quite a bit of time, right? But
Was this word of mouth is spreading because of the products, you like the nice usability, or the relationship you guys built with them?
okay, it's the relationship that we built with them, the dependability that we are able to build with them. Because what ShakeDeal has solved for is obviously predictability, accountability, trust in terms of our service level, how we are able to deliver to them, and give them a platform that is extremely transparent. So since we don't look at them, we don't look at large companies ever as logos. We look at them as partners, right?
They have certain problem, you're solving that.
Yes.
With your...
So we have always had a partnership kind of approach. We're not one of those who, the moment we got a large customer, or a large customer used us for something, logo bana do unko. No. We use them as a big proponent of our, what we're problem statement that we're solving for. Use them as a key advocate for us even elsewhere. And that's how we generate our, stories for marketing purposes.
Okay.
And that has worked.
Oh, interesting. Building relationship mainly. The word of mouth is getting you the more customers. Interesting. And what do you think about like enterprise sales cycle?
Yeah.
6 to 18 months. Like, is there any hack you have used that a founder can use to maybe crack a big enterprise client?
Unfortunately, enterprise deals are extremely slow.
Yeah.
They have long, sales life cycle is pretty long. What initially used to feel like 3 to 6 weeks can stretch to 6 months and even further than that, right? As you fine tune and you start getting more and more customers under your kitty, you are able to understand the nuances and their problems further. So that's when you're able to curate your pitches better, and then the sales cycle kind of like reduces in time. But I always feel like, if you're able to identify a very early on who could be your internal champion
Okay.
from the enterprise person's side. If that internal champion is identified and your pitch is catered towards them and how their life within the company, their career can actually be benefited from that standpoint on, that's when you'll start being able to hitting your core value adds or value proposition that you call, and have a better closure rates, shorter sales cycle time. And to get to that, I think it's not easy. You have to do some of those. You have to go through the time where you close out some of those long enterprise sales cycle deals.
So it'll take eventually time.
Yeah, one or two you have to go through in order to learn, do the hard work, get the learnings. See, what you can always copy UI and build a product that somebody can. What you cannot copy is 10 years worth of
So my next
institutional knowledge.
My
right?
next question was, given the vibe coding tool, anybody can build anything, right? For example, if I want to build a Zoa CRM, I can build in minutes. What's the core differentiation? As we spoke previously, what's the key differentiation to build a scalable product? Let's say I have an idea related to content marketing software. There's already a tool called SEMrush. How do I build a scalable software? Can I replace in some months? So you were saying that obviously the moat is again having institutional experience. In your case, you have 10 years experience. What do you think about that? Can this...
That's predominantly my point. I mean, vibe coding, and also what kind of workflows you use in order to build your vibe coded applications, whether you've had a really well thought of or procedure in order to come out with your eventual PID document, or you've approached it from an angle where you're just a PM, or you've approached it from an angle where you're a subject matter expert, an operator with decades of experience in that space. And how you've envisaged that workflow that enables you to like finally build your vibe coded product. That determines how well you can actually get to, say, an incumbent in the space who's got like institutional experience of yours and stuff. But I feel like any of these vibe coded applications, if built out well, can scale. And that's...
If they have institutional experience, that's a bonus.
It's definitely a bonus. I just feel like they come out much better if it's...
Okay. I have two more questions. Given the tech is like becoming commodity, anybody can build technology. People are saying like having distribution across your social media, across your email list, across your founder presence on LinkedIn, company presence, having more people, basically having more brand awareness about them. What do you think about in the current ecosystem where the tech is seen as a commodity, but having distribution is the highest leverage? What do you think about this?
I think so as well. I think in any space, distribution is having distribution or access to distribution, or having a great set of distribution channels that are able to scale, take your product out there, your solution out there to people. It's extremely important. Anybody who is able to automate and put these distribution channels on steroids is able to like, firstly reduce their cost per impression by a lot. And that way they're able to hit a lot of people. And nowadays there are a number of tools that you can use, websites like Make, N8N, that are enabling companies to like, really break down their GTM costs for various things.
Cost per lead getting down.
Yeah, cost per lead, whether it's a cold outreach campaign, whether it's, creating posts and running campaigns on social media. Yeah, it kind of like really collapses your cost.
Interesting. So having distribution is the highest leverage when compared to technology.
I think it's a big leverage. More importantly, there are two things, right? One is building the technology through vibe coding. The other thing is using the same AI tools in order to like get your distribution on point, right? So if I would say that if somebody is a founder today, is looking for a founder, you can get somebody who like perfects the vibe coding stuff so that they can build and knows how to like, get a great workflow in place for building great products. And the other side of the founder should be a person who knows how to get his distribution right.
So
using the same AI tools.
If any company has two founders, one should focus on the technology, one should focus on building distribution.
Absolutely. I think in this time and age, with the fact that, the ability to build products, the entry barrier has fallen, it's crashed.
But most people like often put more priority on the technology rather than distribution. Do you think that's where most startup fails? Because given the success rate of startup is very less, most people like prioritize on the technology rather than distribution. That might be one of the reason.
Yes, I think a lot of people end up thinking it's all about, having a superior product, which is one school of thought with product-led growth and stuff like that. But I think a huge portion of success or failure, I've seen great products that have not hit their true potential. Okay. And then get sold or they just collapse. They get acquired. It's because they haven't positioned right. They haven't gone after the right ICP or they haven't cracked the right kind of deals. The distribution was incorrect.
Okay. You can always pivot, but you cannot always get the, tomorrow you can pivot to like whatever the position you have, but you cannot get the distribution in a very less time duration.
Yes. Yeah. A distribution takes time to perfect. Hence, it's very important to like, have a very kind, a good mix to know what kind of works, what works for you. Because what might work for, say, a particular kind of company, say a SaaS company that's in providing marketing tools or a cold outbound reach automation tool is not going to probably work for a SaaS company that is providing a microservice such as enhancement of e-commerce listings.
Understood. So, for any technology companies to grow, now you have 10 years running ShakeDeal. What's the one piece of advice you would like to give for the founders who are building the technology company?
The way AI is moving, right? I think the ability for companies or founders to start something and ship out products is the timeline has kind of collapsed like anything, right?
Yeah.
The and if you have any of these, if you have the distribution after that figured out, your ability to scale, if the distribution channel works for you with a very small team, I think that is something that gives founders humongous advantage in today's time and age. So you don't really need big teams. You don't really need that much capital in order to especially when you're running these kind of platforms that do not require a huge amount of capex or working capital. You can really get started with a very lean team. The advice would probably be then just start, pick it up, try using the products. Go ahead, even if you're not a technical person, download that
Vibe coding tools.
dot code or vibe coding tools. Use it, play around with it. If you don't understand, ask it how to use it.
Okay,
It's gonna
interesting.
help. Yeah.
So ask the AI to use how you use AI.
Yes, that's how non-technical. I'm a business supply chain guy. I haven't been into tech, but one of the things that the way I've learned in order to utilize it is largely by doing that and watching more people, watching a lot of YouTube videos from these the guys who have mastered vibe coding and.
Oh, interesting. So now, let's say there's a 22-year-old, freshly graduated college student, or like somebody who has 3 to 4 year experience working maybe at a IT company or startup. So what's a one opportunity in the B2B segment to build upon? Given the rise of AI tools and leverage AI and build in the B2B segment.
That's
what's the untapped market in the B2B segment?
The depth and the vast expanse of the B2B domain is huge. When you have to categorize things, right from marketing to sourcing, procurement, business development, contracts, legal, it's a huge space, right? But I think one thing that will never go out of fashion or that will never not need more companies providing that service is people who can help generate business. That's always going to be the need.
Okay, maybe sales
or marketing, right? So
well, that's what I'm doing, marketing.
Yeah, exactly. If you can always help them get leads.
Okay.
And that's why the budgets will always be there.
Okay, so I'm Gokul. I run a startup called Hilos. We work with AI and enterprise software companies for their content marketing and run ads and generate leads for them. We work with founders, company for their content marketing essentially. We get more shareability on the social media, reducing their cost per lead and targeting the same audience by running ads with an offer that they cannot refuse.
Right.
So do you think this is one of the a skill people have to learn? I'm not bragging about me, but a skill as you said, to generate business opportunity to them.
I think that's definitely one of the skill, and as a founder with that kind of skill set would be deeply valuable in today's, if somebody's looking for a co-founder. That being said, that's a great space to be in. Why? Because there are tons of tools today that are replacements for heavy behemoths like Salesforce, HubSpot, and stuff like that, which are generating great MRR, monthly revenue run rate of theirs, has hit a few 100,000 very quickly from launch. But all they're doing is essentially enabling you to reach out, streamline your cold outreach campaigns, reach out to multiple people, get qualified leads, prospected leads, get curated AI-generated emails and a cadence for it, or help you create ads that are more converting, and It uses AI to be able to optimize your performance. Marketing and sales related opportunities are immense. I think there's always going to be demand for it. And there's going to be some sort of revenue model that's always going to be there to displace some of the behemoths.
Interesting. When I was at AI Summit in Delhi last month, a leader was saying, do not build on the technology as a like small scale startup. If you build on the AI models, the large behemoths, which is Meta or Google, they will ship that particular feature next week and you'll be you'll be running out of business. Instead, build get close to the customer and build relationship so that you can cater that technology to them.
That's but again, I think that's also a little bit about how India has built its own IT services industry. They've helped be the they've helped the customers in their digitization journeys.
So it's a like IT service for
IT service for this.
Yeah.
That's what I think the concept was. That way you become irreplaceable because you're helping them or you're chaperoning them in their AI journeys or something like that. I think that's a very Indian related way to think about things.
But there are companies like Sarvam who are building foundation model.
Yeah. So I would be on the flip side. I think India needs to think outside the box and get there. Even if Meta is going to ship the same thing as a feature next day and next week. Why? Because with the new, recently OpenClaw came out. We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
How this...
Like 1 billion one-man person.
Yeah, I mean...
the one person is building 1 billion company.
Absolutely. And what was it? It was something that he built within 2 to 3 months and ran on his own.
Yeah.
It got...
He got so much virality that
it got so much
many people are buying Apple Mini to install OpenClaw and run.
Absolutely. Yeah. And because of what it can do and why he has created that. Now, why he's created that, how he's created that, what made him create that, ultimately it has gotten such use cases that why would an OpenAI want to buy that? They would probably not have shipped that out in their next 2-3 feature requests or feature
that is
pushes,
something
right?
It would have taken probably 1 year.
Yeah, and in order to probably get access to the same viral base or that use case, because I think OpenClaw was supposed to be open source.
Yeah.
And OpenAI was also supposed to be open
source. Everybody started
as
non-profit initially and they see some profits and become profit.
Absolutely. So I think the ultimate goal for founders should be is to build stuff that is truly unique. All right. India can definitely, there's a way to be smart about it. Smart about it means, you kind of align yourself to customers that you already have and help them chaperone them in their AI transformation journeys. That way you'll have business, you'll be able to help them and you will be indispensable to them. But that's again, a very services kind of way of thinking. What guys like Sarvam and some of these Indian founders, I was just reading Whisperflow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I use Whisperflow quite a bit.
Yeah.
And
I recently saw his social media content. He kept his Porsche car inside. He challenged about his product and he was the post.
I think their speech to text is very good.
Yeah.
The way it catches it, it's much better than even OpenAI.
Yeah.
And I have
even better than 11 Labs.
Possibly, yeah. It's possibly even better because it's absolutely accurate. And I've been using it for the past 39 weeks.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I really like the way they marketed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually came to know about it from my co-founder. He's a power user of it.
What's the name of your co-founder?
Santosh. And I got 2 co-founders, Akash, my brother, twin brother, and Santosh. He's our CTO. So Santosh uses this Whisperflow a lot because he uses Cloud Code. He's a power user of Cloud Code.
Okay, interesting.
And I think gone is the time where you really type out everything.
So opportunity in India is to build something that is highly valuable and it is not easily indispensable to the customers. One thing is like on the more business generating way. Other ways, obviously, if you have skill set on the AI, go deep and build AI. One way is, this is one opportunity, right?
Absolutely. I think this is one way where you'll always find a need for someone. You'll always find a need for that kind of service or that kind of offering. And there is no shortage of products in the market that can do this.
Okay.
Yet.
Do you think AI can disrupt this thing? Because everybody firmly believe that like humans are good at building relationship with another human, where AI cannot replace these things. Do you think in the future it can take over this particular thing?
I think so. I think the more AI is able to know a human profile or able to profile humans more thoroughly, they would probably be able to emote quite a few of the same kind of characteristics in their responses, be it through text or speech. Already you can see AI social media platform that had come. You can see that, AI has kind of started becoming almost...
Maltbook you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
They've started becoming very sentient.
So basically, Maltbook is nothing but a social media platform for only AI agents, which means AI is going to talk with no human intervention. That's quietly something insane, right?
Yeah, that's insane. And what's even insane is the kind of conversations that were happening there.
Yeah. So they are complaining about the human. That's the scariest part.
Absolutely.
So what do you think about like India and China, like where India is left behind China, while China is building DeepSeek and lot more like DeepSeek and lot more AI tools, while India is left behind in various things, not only AI and various things. What do you think about India versus China in the development side?
We obviously are behind them in infrastructure, right? And the amount of investment that's being made in infrastructure, not only on physical infrastructure, but also the digital, the building blocks of, AI, we're slightly behind them. Though we've started building our own, and our adoption is crazy. But one of the things I feel is because our investments in R&D has been very low compared to the other countries in the world, we've been slightly behind the curve that way. But I think we're probably the best in the world for constraint-driven innovation. We're the best
I'm
in
not
the
sure
world.
about that thing, but I'm really sure of during this war stage, I'm really proud that I'm being in India.
Yeah,
because I had the plan to fly to Dubai. Fortunately, I didn't.
Yeah, you would have probably been stuck there. So what I feel is like India is great at being able to orchestrate, because we are more used to chaos.
Yeah.
And by the looks of what's going on, the future of the world is chaos only.
Yeah.
So I think India has an advantage over there because we are more used to chaos, and the future is chaos. We'll be better suited to, be able to build and orchestrate products. And I think...
so that's where the difference, like China is being more developed, India is being
I think
picking up lately now.
Our constraint-driven innovation in various spaces.
So when you say constraint-driven innovation, it's like Jugaad.
It's Jugaad mentality, and it's mentality of, getting things done in a efficient manner with less access to capital. Right?
But if we have capital, we can probably build few good things.
Absolutely. I think...
so the solution should be like more investment on the R&D.
Obviously, I think that one of the biggest things that has led to such breakthroughs is the amount of R&D that investment that, countries have put into various creating their foundational models. And with Sarvam, you can see that, it's... there has been, his focus was always on
Indic language.
Indic languages, creating that foundational model. So
Did you try Indus, Sarvam Indus, like competing to ChatGPT?
No, I haven't. But I have seen videos of, people showcasing how good it is. And I was also thoroughly impressed.
I'm going to use it.
That's good.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for sharing your insightful nuggets. And I think it will be really insightful for the viewers, which is our audience. Yeah, thank you so much.
I hope so. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
Appreciate it.